Hare Krishna. Welcome to the 18-day session on the systematic and summary study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Before we begin today's session, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayeta Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome again to this 18-day systematic study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have been discussing the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which contains 19 chapters and 808 shlokas. We are in the 8th chapter of the first canto, which very beautifully describe the beautiful prayers offered by Queen Kunti. Kunti Devi is offering these prayers to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna at the time of his departure from Hastinapura back to Dwaraka. In these prayers are revealed the highest philosophical truths which surpass even the teachings of the Vedas and the Vedanta. Kunti Devi has already explained in many beautiful prayers the ultimate truth about the Supreme Brahman being beyond material nature, Ishwaram Prakrite Paraha, and also in her prayers she has expressed to have the repeated darshan of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna even in spite of having to face many difficulties or miseries of material existence. They would be welcome if they lead to the darshan of the Supreme Lord, because by having darshan of the Supreme Lord, one need not have the darshan of this samsara sagara, of the cycle of repeated birth and death. So in this way, Kunti Devi has offered many wonderful and unique and unparalleled prayers which are recorded in this 8th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Another very significant prayer is in 1.8.30, wherein Kunti Devi prays Janma Karma Cha Vishwatman Ajasya Karturatmanaha Tiryan Rishishu Yadasu Tat Atyanta Vidambanam. Kunti Devi expresses her great astonishment that Tat Atyanta Vidambanam, this is most bewildering, it's a cause of great astonishment, because Janma Karma Cha Vishwatman, Krishna, you are Vishwatman, you are the soul of the entire universe. The birth and activities of the soul of the universe, who is described in all the Vedic scriptures to be Ajaha. Ajaha means one who never takes birth. This has also been explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 6, wherein Krishna says that Ajopisan Avyayatma, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Absolute Truth, is actually Ajaha. Aja means to take birth, and Aja means one who is unborn. So the birth, the so-called apparent birth of the unborn, is a cause of great bewilderment and a source of great astonishment. Likewise, Ajasya Akartuhu, the Supreme Absolute Truth in many parts of the Upanishads has been described to be Akartuhu, one who is completely inactive. So actually the Supreme Absolute Truth is inactive in the material sphere. Therefore, even in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 text number 14, Krishna says, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhigna sabadhyate. That Krishna does not have any material work at all. And one who understands the mystery of the birth and activities of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is declared in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha Tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti sojana. Simply by understanding the secret, the great mystery behind the so-called birth and activities of the Supreme Lord Krishna makes a person immediately eligible to attain the highest perfection of liberation and freedom from the cycle of repeated birth and death. So it is definitely a very, very wonderful thing. The Supreme Lord, who has no birth, who need not perform any activity, yet he acts and he appears in this material world. So therefore, all the acts of the Supreme Lord are called Leela, and although they are not understood by most of the people of this world, confidential devotees like Kunti can understand and enter into the mystery of the birth and activities of the Supreme Lord. As stated also in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text number 54, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. The Supreme Lord also says in the Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktya tvananyaya shaktya aham evam vidhojana Gnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. One can enter into the mysteries of the truth about the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna only by bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya, only by ananya bhakti or unalloyed devotional service, following the path of pure and unalloyed devotees like Kunti Devi. And in the next verse, in 1.8.31, Kunti Devi gives another example of the wonderful activities of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, which is very bewildering to a common man. Kunti Devi now recalls one of the sweetest and the most charming pastimes performed by Shri Krishna in his supreme abode of Goloka Vrindavana. So Kunti Devi prays in 1.8.31, Gopya dade tvai kritaga sidama tavad yate dashashru kalilanjana sambhramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya sthitasya samam vimohayati bhirapi yad bibheti. Kunti Devi here expresses her great wonder that how is it possible for the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna that as a small child in Vrindavana, Gopyadade Tvai Kritagasi, Kritagasi, when Krishna performed some mischief, Mother Yashoda took a stick and she chased Krishna and finally caught him. And at that time, Krishna, when he saw the stick of Mother Yashoda, he was in great fear. So Yate Dasha, Kunti Devi is remembering Yate Dasha, your situation, your situation of great fear. Fear from what? Krishna was afraid, was greatly fearful of the stick of Yashoda. And this Kunti Devi says, that is certainly very, very bewildering to me. Yate dashashru salilanjana sambhramaksham, your eyes which were very, very disturbed with fear, and your curly locks of hair were shaking in fear of Mother Yashoda. So Vaktram Niniya, with your face downwards, Bhaya Bhavanaya Sthitasya, out of great fear you were situated in front of Mother Yashoda. Samam Vimohayati, that is extremely wonderful and astonishing to me, because Bhir api yad bibheti, even fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So when fear personified is afraid of Krishna, how can Krishna be fearful of a ordinary stick of Mother Yashoda? So these are the wonderful, sweet pastimes of the Supreme Lord, and only pure devotees can understand that actually the Supreme Lord is only performing the Leela of being fearful of the stick of Mother Yashoda in order to relish the highest mellows known technically as rasa. So the Supreme Lord is explained in the Upanishads as Raso Vaisaha. He is the reservoir of all Sat Chit Ananda Rasas, of all Chinmaya Rasas, of the divine spiritual mellows, and these are exchanged to the infinite degree between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. So the fear of Krishna cannot be compared to any stage, to any variety of the material bhaya or fear. So therefore Kunti Devi expresses her astonishment and wonder at the so-called appearance and the so-called activities of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Shri Krishna. And finally, Kunti Devi submits her final prayer in 1.8.42 that Tvai me ananya vishaya matir madhupate asakrit ratim udvahata dadha ganghe vaugham udanvati. Kunti Devi says that Tvai me ananya vishaya matihi madhupate asakrit. Asakrit means constantly or always. So my mati, here Kunti Devi says that let my consciousness be always absorbed towards you, O Supreme Lord Krishna, just like the flow of the Ganga is unbroken and continuous towards the ocean, towards the sea. So this is the final prayer offered by Kunti, that may my consciousness be always absorbed in you, Shri Krishna, and in the Supreme Absolute Truth. So this is the standard of prayers to be offered on the platform of Shuddha Bhakti or pure devotional service. There is absolutely no tinge of any selfish motive or selfish desire or any swagdha in any of the prayers offered by Queen Kunti. Her final prayer is a glorification of the Supreme Lord. In 1.8.43, Kunti Devi says, Shri Krishna Krishna Saka Vrishnirushabhavani Dhrug Rajanyavamsha Dahanana Pavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Suragti Haravatara Yogeshwara Khilaguru Bhagavan Namaste. Kunti Devi says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, Krishna, who is Govinda, who is glorified in unlimited and infinite ways. So in this way, Suta Vacha Prithayetham Kalapadaihi Parinuta khilodayah mandam jahasa vaikuntho mohayan iva mayaya. The Supreme Lord Krishna accepted all these wonderful prayers offered by Queen Kunti, and he mandam jahasa, he smiled and accepted the wonderful offering of prayers by Queen Kunti. And as Krishna was about to depart now to Dwaraka, he was again stopped by Maharaj Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira had now become intensely afflicted with grief and lamentation. Yudhishthira Maharaj thought that the great battle of Kurukshetra, the great battle of Mahabharata was fought in which there was a huge loss of life in both the parties. So many people lost their lives, and Yudhishthira Maharaj thought that all this happened just for the sake of enthroning me as the king, and therefore he considered himself responsible for this great massacre. So this is the nature of pure devotees. They are so kind-hearted. Although Duryodhana had committed many atrocities on the Pandavas, there is never a mention in the entire Bhagavatam or even in the entire text of the Mahabharata that Duryodhana was ever even a little remorseful or regretful of his atrocities on the Pandavas. Whereas the Pandavas, although they fought on the principle of religion, it was a dharma yuddha, yet Yudhishthira Maharaj was such a kind-hearted devotee that he thought himself to be responsible for the great massacre and the loss of life in this battle. So Yudhishthira was extremely afflicted with grief and lamentation. He requested Krishna to stay for some more time. And then we now continue to the next chapter, the 9th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which contains the most wonderful disappearance or the passing away of a great personality, one of the greatest personalities of the Mahabharata, of the Dwapara Yuga, which is Bhishma Deva. The passing of Bhishma Deva is very glorious and exemplary. It is so amazing and wonderful that it is the ideal path of how one should die. It is a supreme instruction on the matter of death. So, on the inevitable truth of death. So let us now begin the discussion on the 9th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which wonderfully describes the passing away of Bhishma Deva. So it is described by Suta Goswami. Suta uvacha iti bhitaha prajadrohat sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragad yatra devavrato apatat. Another name of Bhishma is Devavrata. So because he had taken the great vow of celibacy or brahmacharya. So iti bhitaha prajadrohat, Yudhishthira Maharaj being very anxious and fearful of having incurred the great sin of the loss of so many people in the battle of Mahabharata. Tato vinashanam pragad. He went to the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Bhishma Deva was still lying on the bed of arrows. He was Sharashayana. So on the 10th day of the 18-day battle between the Kauravas and Pandavas, on the 10th day, Bhishma Deva lay down on the bed of arrows as a great hero, as a valiant fighter, Bhishma made as his bed the arrows shot by Arjuna, and Bhishma Deva had the great gift of Ichha Marana. He could choose the time of his death, and therefore he lay down on the bed of arrows and was waiting for the opportune, the right moment to finally give up his material frame, his material body, and attain liberation. So he was waiting for the arrival of the Supreme Lord. So when Yudhishthira came to the battlefield of Kurukshetra and approached Bhishma, he was accompanied by all the Pandavas. All the Pandava brothers came along with Sahachakrina, along with the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, who carries the Sudarshana Chakra. And at that time, Tatra Brahmarshaya Sarve Devarshayascha Sattama Rajarshayascha Tatrasan Drashtum Bharata Pungavam. In order to see and offer their final love, respects and honor to one of the greatest personalities in the history of mankind, Bhishma Deva. The great Brahmarshis, Devarshis, Rajarshis and all the greatest personalities of the entire universe all assembled at the on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And a list of some of the prominent personalities is mentioned in the 9th chapter in the 6th and 7th verses, that Parvato Narado Dhaumyo Bhagavan Badarayanaha Brihadashvo Bharadvajaha Sashishyo Renukasutaha Vasishtha Indra Pramadaha Trito Gritsamadositaha Kakshivan Gautamotrishcha Kaushikotha Sudarshanaha Anye cha munayo brahman brahmaratadayo malaha shishyerupeta ajagmuhu kashyapangirasadaya. All the great sages and personalities of the universe, including Parvata Muni, Narada Muni, Dhaumya, Vyasadeva, Brihadashva, Bharadvaja, Parashurama, Vasishtha, Indra Pramada, Grita, Trita, Gritsamada, Asita, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, Kaushika, Sudarshana, Kashyapa, Angirasa, accompanied by all their Shishyas or disciples, all now came to offer their respect, honor and to see the exemplary passing away of Bhishma Deva. So when all of them assembled, it is explained that Tan Sametan Mahabhagan Upalabhya Vasuttamaha Pujayam Asa Dharmagnyo Deshakala Vibhagavat. Bhishma Deva received all of them according to the time, place and circumstance. Bhishma Deva himself could not even rise up because he was lying down on a bed of arrows, but he acknowledged and welcomed all of them in the best practical way possible. And also Krishnam cha tat prabhavagnya asinam jagadishwaram hridistham pujayamasa mayayopatta vigraham. Bhishma Deva specially worshipped the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna Tat Prabhavagnya, because Bhishma Deva was very well aware of the divine transcendental glories and the supreme position of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So in this way, Bhishma Deva then also saw Panduputranupasinan Prashraya Prema Sanghatan Abhyachashtanuragashrer Andhi Bhutena Chakshusha. Bhishma shed immense tears of joy at seeing finally the Pandavas reinstated in their proper position as the kings of the entire world of Hastinapura, which was their rightful claim right from the beginning, but it was illfully usurped by the Kauravas headed by Duryodhana. So although Bhishma, Vidura and everyone had advised the blind king Dhritarashtra to reinstate the Pandavas after they returned from the forest to their rightful claim of being the rulers, especially to appoint King Yudhishthira as the king. So by various evil means and designs, Dhritarashtra along with Duryodhana and the Kauravas, they always took measures to keep the Pandavas out of power, and they themselves usurped that position. So now Bhishma was very happy and satisfied to see Maharaj Yudhishthira as the king, as the sovereign king of the entire world, and the Pandavas in their rightful place as the rulers of the world. So he shed great tears of joy and he welcomed the Pandavas. He spoke to them with great affection, with great, they were the favorite grandchildren of Bhishma Deva. So he spoke very affectionately to them, and he also expressed his astonishment and wonder that although the Pandavas were always on the rightful side of Dharma, yet they had to undergo so many tribulations and sufferings throughout their life. So Bhishma Deva revealed to Yudhishthira not to be remorseful, because he explained that all this was none other than the plan and design and the supreme will of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Bhishma Deva explained to Yudhishthira that Nahyasya Karhichid Rajan Puman Veda Vidhitsitam Yad Vijignasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayopihi, that actually no one can understand the confidential plans and the designs of the supreme will of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore being surrendered souls to the supreme will of the Supreme Lord, one should accept all the situations, either favorable or unfavorable, as the will of the Lord, and in that way be situated on the higher to surpass the material considerations of favorable and unfavorable, or either happiness or distress, to the stage of complete absorption in Krishna consciousness. So therefore Bhishma advised Yudhishthira not to lament, not to be in grief, and not to hold himself to be responsible for the great loss of life in the battle of Mahabharata. He further instructed Yudhishthira Maharaj that Tasmad idam daiva tantram vyavasya bharatarshapha Tasyanu vihito anatha natha pahi praja prabho. Please understand this to be the supreme will of the Supreme Lord, and now by the will of the Supreme Lord you have been reinstated to be the king, and therefore natha pahi praja prabho. You should rule over all the subjects according to the instruction of the Supreme Lord and the great transcendentalists, according to the direction and guidance of the great sages. So then Bhishma Deva revealed to the Pandavas and to the great assembly there that Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshat, although no one can properly and truly or fully understand about the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, but now Bhishma Deva is revealing the real truth about Krishna, that Eshaha Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshad. Here Krishna, who is seated, is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Esha vai Bhagavan Sakshad Adyo Narayana Puman. He is the origin of Narayana, the Adi Purusha, and Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudhascharati Vrishnishu. But he is bewildering with his Mayaya, with his Yoga Maya. He has covered himself and hence is not recognized by the ordinary mass of people. But he can be understood only by the great transcendentalists and sages like Asyanubhavam Viditam Veda Guhyatamam Shivaha. The divine position and the supreme position of Shri Krishna can be properly understood only by Veda Guhyatamam Shivaha, by Lord Shiva, Devakshihi Narada Sakshat Bhagavan Kapilo Nripa, or by the great sage Narada, or by Kapila Deva. So there are very few personalities like Shiva, Narada or Kapila who can properly understand the actual truth of the divine supremacy of Shri Krishna, being the supreme absolute truth, being the ultimate divine Satchidananda Vigraha form of the supreme absolute truth. So Yudhishthira was further instructed that Yammanyase Matuleyam, this personality of Krishna who you thought to be your material cousin is none other than the supreme absolute truth, the supreme Lord, but it is out of his intense compassion and mercy to all of you Pandavas that he has acted as the most dear friend, Priyam Mitram Suhrittamam, as your supreme well-wisher, as your Sachivam, as your representative, even as your Dutam, as your messenger, and Sohrudat Athasarathim, out of his supreme affection to you, especially towards Arjuna. He has even acted in the inferior position as his Sarathi or his charioteer. So this is the nature of the Supreme Lord, and therefore this is further explained by Bhishma that the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is always in a most intimate connection and relationship with his unalloyed devotees, with his Ananya Bhaktas. So therefore in 1.9.22 Bhishma Deva says that Tathapyekanta bhakteshu pashya bhupanukampitam yenme sumstyajata sakshat krishno darshanamagataha. I can understand, Bhishma Deva is saying, that the main reason for the arrival of Krishna here now at this juncture is just to bless me at the time of my death. So Krishna had actually come. He was supposed to go from Hastinapura to Dwaraka, but he stayed back, and then he has come again to the battle of Kurukshetra, and the main purpose of Krishna now is to bless his great pure devotee Bhishma Deva, assumes at the time of his death, at the time of his passing away. So because bhaktya veshya mano yasmin vacha tannama kirtayan tyajan kalevaran yogi muchyate kama karma bhihi. In 1.9.23 Bhishma Deva reveals that the ultimate way of passing away, of attaining death, is bhaktya veshya mano yasmin, to completely absorb one's mind in devotional service in the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Bhaktya veshya mano yasmin vacha tannama kirtayan, and to chant the holy name of Shri Krishna, and Tyajan Kalevaram Yogi. In this way, if anyone gives up the body, this is the highest perfection of a yogi, of a practitioner of yoga, because just by thinking of the Supreme Lord and chanting His holy name at the time of death, muchyate, one attains liberation from kama karma bhihi, from all material bondage, from all fruitive reactions of work. So finally, Bhishma Deva offers his prayer to Krishna in 1.9.24 that Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Sarunalochanolasat Mukham Bhujo Dhyanapathaschaturabhujaha. May my Lord, may my beloved dear Lord Shri Krishna, whose beautifully decorated lotus face with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling with his most enchanting smile, kindly Pratikshatam, let him please wait. Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam, Krishna, please do wait till Kalevaram Yavad Idam Hinomi, until the time I give up my mortal frame, this material body. When I am quitting this material body, Krishna, please do wait in your most beautiful divine form with your most pleasing and enchanting smile. So, after Bhishma Deva offered these wonderful prayers to Shri Krishna, Suta Goswami continues that Suta Uvacha Yudhishthiraiva Makarnya Shayanam Sharapanjare Apricchad Vividhan Dharman Rishinam Cha Anushrinvatam. Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhishma Deva speak in that appealing tone to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, he approached him and inquired him of many topics in the presence of the great rishis, the greatest spiritual personalities of this universe, about the essential principles of various religious duties. This is a very extraordinary event. Yudhishthira is approaching Bhishma Deva, who is Shayanam Sharapanjare, who is lying down on a bed of arrows in a most difficult material situation. Suppose if somebody is very sick, very injured, definitely that is not the right time to approach him and ask him many inquiries. It is not the appropriate time. It is the most inappropriate time and situation to inquire from a person who is in a very difficult state. But Yudhishthira approached, in spite of the presence of the greatest spiritualists of this universe, he approached Bhishma Deva. So why is it so? Yudhishthira was not supposed to ask him and inquire so many things. So this is explained by the great Acharyas, that Yudhishthira approached Bhishma Deva in that great assembly of transcendentalists and spiritualists because he was inspired to do so within his heart by none other than the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. In fact, Yudhishthira did not even inquire from Krishna, who was present there, but he inquired from Bhishma Deva because he was inspired in that way by Krishna Krishna himself. So now, why did Krishna inspire Yudhishthira to approach Bhishma Deva? So this is explained by the great Acharyas, that this is the nature of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, that he is so affectionate to his pure devotees like Bhishma Deva, that he wants to glorify his pure devotee Bhishma to the whole world, to the entire universe, that he is the greatest spiritualist and transcendentalist, even in the presence of all the great sages, in the presence of all the Devarshis, Brahmarshis and Rajarshis. Yet Bhishma is the stand-out spiritualist, the greatest spiritualist, and he is now going to give his supreme instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Krishna wanted to proclaim and glorify the glories of his pure devotee Bhishma Deva to the whole world. He also wanted to show to the whole world that a great devotee like Bhishma, a realized spiritualist, a self-realized person like Bhishma Deva is beyond all material conditions. So all that situation on the bed of arrows, that excruciating pain, Bhishma Deva being a self-realized, a God-realized soul, he is beyond all these material conditions. So in order to show to the whole world, Krishna himself inspired Yudhishthira to approach Bhishma Deva and inquire from him about many spiritual topics. This is actually explained in great detail, very elaborately in the text of the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata contains 18 parvas, and the 12th and the 13th parvas of the Mahabharata are called the Shanti Parva and the Anushasana Parva. So right from the 60th chapter of the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata contains 365 chapters, and the 13th Parva called the Anushasana Parva contains 168 chapters. So 168 plus 305. So about 473 chapters of the Mahabharata contain the wonderful instructions given by Bhishma Deva, one of the greatest transcendentalists in the history of mankind. Bhishma Deva is also regarded to be one among the Dvadasha Mahajanas, the 12 great personalities who are the authorities on religious and spiritual principles for the entire universe. Prahlado Janako Bhishma. Bhishma is one among the 12 Mahajanas, or the great authorities of the entire universe on spiritual subject matters. So therefore the Mahabharata, which contains this elaborate instructions by Bhishma to Yudhishthira, it also contains the very, very important Vishnu Sahasranama. Was also revealed the 1000 divine names of the Supreme Lord Vishnu were instructed by Bhishma Deva in his instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This exact spot is also still existing at Kurukshetra. The place is known as Narakatari and also known as Banaganga, the place where Arjuna shot the arrow and made the appearance of Ganga to quench the thirst of Bhishma Deva. So that place is still existing. So here it is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yathavarnam Yathashramam Vairagya Ragopadibhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanan. Bhishma Deva explained in great detail all the various classifications of Varna and Ashrama of the Vedic society. He explained very systematically the counteraction by Vairagya and Anuraga, by both detachment from material and attachment to the spiritual, which is the real and the right path of spiritual advancement. Likewise, he also explained Dana Dharman, Raja Dharman, Moksha Dharman, Vibhagashah, Stri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman, Samasa Vyasa Yogataha. He explained both briefly as well as extensively the right way of the acts of dana dharma, of the acts of charity, also the raja dharma, the duties of a king, moksha dharman, the path of moksha or liberation, stri dharman, specifically the duties of women, and also bhagavad dharman, the activities of the pure devotees or bhagavatas. So in this way, dharmartha kama mokshamscha sahopayani yathamune nanakhyane itihaseshu varnayamasa tattvavit. Bhishma Deva is explained here to be Tattvavit, one who knows the absolute truth. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 34, Krishna has stated that Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti tadhyanam jnaninas tattvadakshinaha, that one should accept as one's guru or spiritual master a person who is Tattvadakshi or Tattvavit. And Bhishma Deva is one of the greatest Tattvavits or the self-realized souls in the history of mankind. So in this way, Dharmam pravadatastasya sakalaha pratyupasthitaha yo yoginash chanda mrityor vanchitastu uttarayanaha. When Bhishma Deva was thus speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthira, the sun's course changed from Dakshinayana to Uttarayana. The sun moves for 6 months in Dakshinayana. Its southern course is called Dakshinayana, and the 6 months of its northward journey is called Uttarayana, which is considered a very, very auspicious time, especially to give up one's body. So Bhishma Deva took this opportunity when Uttarayana began. So Bhishma Deva now decided, because he had the gift of Ichha Marana, to give up his body at the time of his choosing. So he now decided to finally give up his material life. So tadopasamhritya girasahasganir vimukta sangam mana adi purushe Krishne lasatpita pate chaturbhuje purasthite milita drigvyadharayat. So the passing away of Bhishma Deva, as I mentioned earlier, is most glorious and exemplary for everyone to learn and follow. So here we can find how Bhishma Deva prepared himself for inevitable death. So Bhishma Deva is explained to be a person who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings, and who fought on thousands of battlefields and was always victorious, and he also protected thousands of people. So he now stopped speaking. He gave rest to his speech, and completely free from all material attachment and bondage, he completely withdrew his mind from everything external, from everything else, and fixed his wide open eyes upon Adi Purushe Krishne Lasatpita Pate Chaturbhuje. He fixed his wide open eyes upon the Adi Purusha, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who stood before him dressed in beautiful yellow garments which are glittering and shining. So, Vishuddhaya Dharanaya Hata Shubhash Tadikshayeva Sugatayudhashkamaha Nivritta Sarvendriya Vritti Vibhramas Tushtavajanyam Visrijanjanagdanam. And just before giving up his body, Bhishma Deva offered with one pointed attention at Shri Krishna these very, very wonderful prayers, which are just about 11 prayers, 1.9.32 to 1.9.42. So I would request everyone to study these prayers of Bhishma Deva in great detail and to go into the depths of the very, very grave and the most wonderful prayers offered by Bhishma Deva to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna at the time of his final passing away. So 1.9.32 are the beginning of these prayers. Bhishma Deva says, Shri Bhishma Uvacha Iti Matirupakalpita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumni Swasukham Upagate Kvachin Vihagtum Prakritimupeishi Yadbhava Pravahaha. Bhishma Deva prays to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna that let me now completely invest and absorb my thinking, feeling and willing, which were so long engaged in various subject matters, in the all-powerful, in the omnipotent Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna, he is always self-satisfied, and he always enjoys divine transcendental pleasure by being the leader and the protector of his pure devotees. Bhishma Deva further prays that Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam Ravikara Ghaura Varambaram Dadhane Vapuralaka Kulavritananamcham Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastu Mena Vadya. Tribhuvana Kamanam, the divine spiritual form of Shri Krishna, is the most beautiful and pleasing in all the three words. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam. The complexion of Shri Krishna is like the dark Tamala Vriksha. There is a very special tree called Tamala Vriksha which especially grows in Vrindavana. So the complexion of Krishna is many times compared to the complexion of the Tamala Vriksha. Ravikara Ghaura Varambaram Dadhane. His divine form is attractive in all the three worlds, and in this way Bhishma Deva completely absorbs himself in meditation upon this divine form of Shri Krishna. He further explains and he remembers the form of Shri Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra as the most intimate friend of Arjuna. One of the prime purposes of Shri Krishna's descent was to vanquish the miscreants, as stated by Krishna himself, that Vinashaya cha dushkritam, and he accomplished this throughout his sojourn in the material world and finally in the battle of Mahabharata. So in the battle of Mahabharata, Krishna as Kala, as supreme time, brought about the end of all the evil forces on the face of this earth and re-established the supremely religious Yudhishthira and the Pandavas to be the sovereign rulers of this earth. So on the battlefield, Krishna being the charioteer of Arjuna as Partha Sarathi, Bhishma deeply remembers that, intensely remembers the form of Krishna with his flowing hair. His complexion had become ashen due to the dust raised by the hooves of the so many horses on the battlefield. There was sweat covering his face, and all these wonderful decorations intensified by the arrows that I would shoot upon Arjuna and Krishna. These were all remembered very, very affectionately by Bhishma Deva. Then Bhishma Deva also remembers a very, very special moment on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna bestowed his supreme blessing upon Bhishma Deva. It is explained in 1.9.37 by Bhishma Deva in his prayers that Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignyam धृतमधो अधिकर्तुम अवप्लुतो रथस्थः धृतरथ चरणो अभ्ययाचलद्घुर हरिरिव हन्तुमिभं घतोत्तरीयः. Bhishma Deva remembers that Krishna was so merciful and compassionate. He blessed me with his supreme compassion when on the battlefield, while fighting the great battle, Swanigamam apahaya mat pratignam. Krishna broke his word, his promise, just for the sake of upholding my promise. So it is explained in the Mahabharata that after the death of Abhimanyu, Arjuna was so furious and angry, and it was also known that Abhimanyu was also killed by the evil designs of the Sindhu Raja Jayadratha. So it is also explained that during the battle of Mahabharata, it so happened that once Duryodhana approached Bhishma Deva and accused him that although you are fighting on our side, yet it seems that your heart is on the side of the Pandavas and you are not fighting with full force, with your full vigor. So when Bhishma heard that, Bhishma was greatly offended, and he promised to Duryodhana that in tomorrow's battle, I shall fight so valiantly that either one of the Pandavas would be killed or Krishna would have to break his promise. So Krishna had taken the promise before the beginning of the battle of Mahabharata that he would not take up any weapon. So Bhishma Deva said, he promised to Duryodhana that I am taking a promise that tomorrow I shall kill one of the Pandavas unless Krishna breaks his promise. So this was the word given by Bhishma to Duryodhana. So next day, Bhishma Deva, true to his word, fought so fiercely and valiantly with the Pandavas that Arjuna was completely covered by a shower of arrows from Bhishma Deva. And at that time, finally, Krishna had to come to the rescue and protection of Arjuna. So finally, Krishna took up the wheel of the chariot and broke his promise in order to uphold the word and promise of Bhishma Deva. So he took up the wheel of the chariot and rushed towards Bhishma Deva. And this was very intensely remembered by Bhishma Deva, because when Krishna rushed towards Bhishma Deva in order to attack him, there was no counter attack from Bhishma Deva. In fact, when Bhishma Deva observed that Krishna was rushing towards him to attack him with the wheel of a chariot, Bhishma Deva immediately he gave up his bows and arrows and all his weapons and spread his hands and arms as if a beloved would aspire to embrace his or her beloved. So this was the wonderful loving exchange between Krishna and his pure devotee Bhishma. So this kind of prema or devotional love is in Virya Rasa, is in the Rasa of chivalry. So this was greatly relished by both Krishna as well as Bhishma, and this is being intensely remembered by Bhishma on his deathbed. In fact, Bhishma Deva now in 1.9.39 makes a very great secret revelation that Vijayaratha Kutumba Attatotre Dhritahaya Rashmini Tatshriye Kshaniye Bhagavati Ratirastu Me Mumukshor Yamiha Nirikshya Hatagata Swarupam. That now, at the final moment of my death, let my ultimate attraction be only towards the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. And now the great secret revelation of Bhishma Deva here is Yam iha nirikshya hataha. Whoever saw him at the time of death on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Gata Swarupam, all of them attained moksha. So this is the supreme mercy and compassion of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Those who are foolish and ignorant sometimes accuse Krishna that although Krishna knew and could have avoided the battle of Mahabharata at Kurukshetra, he allowed it to happen. They fail to understand that Krishna has come even to the battlefield of Kurukshetra and has opened the floodgates of his infinite mercy and compassion. The mercy of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is so great and in fact infinite that everyone who died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and saw the divine form of Krishna, all of them were granted liberation, moksha, and they went back home, back to Godhead. So who can be more merciful than the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna? Anyway, in this material world, now or later, everyone had to die. None of those people who died in the battle of Mahabharata at Kurukshetra would have survived for long. But by dying in the presence of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, they attained what is unattainable even for the greatest of yogis. They attained something that they could not have attained in the journey of their millions and billions and trillions of lifetimes in the past or even in the future. They attained so easily just by dying in the battle of Mahabharata in the presence of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So this was remembered by Bhishma Deva. So he also remembers Bhishma Deva in his final prayers to Krishna on his deathbed. Also remembers in 1.9.50 the greatest devotees of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, who are the gopis of Vrindavana. So Bhishma Deva remembers the supreme devotion of the greatest devotees of Lord Krishna. He says, Lalita Gati Vilasa Valguhasa Pranaya Nirikshana Kalpito Rumanaha Kritamanu Kritavatya Unmadanthaha Prakriti Maghan Kilayasya Gopavadvaha. He remembers the Gopikas and the divine, the supreme pastime of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna with the gopis in the Rasa Leela. So in this way, completely completely fixing his mind, consciousness and his wide open eyes on the divine form of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, Suta Goswami explains that Suta Vacha Krishna evam bhagavati mano vag drishti vrittibhihi atmanatmanamaveshya so antah shvasa uparamat. Bhishma Deva completely absorbing himself in the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mano, vag, drishti, vrittibhihi, with his mind, with his speech, with his sight and with his actions. Saha antashvasa uparamat. He became silent and finally gave up his body. So he met death in this most glorious and exemplary way. Sampadyamanamasadya bhishmam brahmani nishkale. In this way he entered the supreme abode of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, the spiritual world. So all the people who were present there, this was actually the assembly of the greatest spiritualists, of the greatest transcendentalists of this universe. All of them had come in order to see the glorious and exemplary passing away of Bhishma Deva. So sarve babhuhu te tushnim, they all of them, they became silent, they became sad and at the same time happy. They were very happy because they could see the direct, the ultimate, the most ideal path, the ideal way of death by Bhishma Deva and how he had returned to the spiritual world. But they were also sad that they were now bereft of the association of the great devotee and the great personality of Bhishma Deva. So now Yudhishthira performed the final rites of Bhishma Deva, and then by the approval and permission of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and also of his father Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, by seeking their permission and approval and also seeking the approval of all the great sages, he now started ruling the entire world as the sovereign emperor of the earth, as the Sarvabhauma. So in this way, the 9th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam has the wonderful description and narration of the divine passing away of the great personality Shri Bhishma Deva. So if you have any questions about today's subject matter, please do post it in the WhatsApp group or in the comments box. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and please do join us tomorrow for the continuation